Tonight, many Troy University students got the chance to look for a possible place to live next year.
Plus, high school students were able to experience a little bit of college life. Stay tuned, TrojanVision Nightly News starts now.
High-definition digital production center on the Troy campus with news from Troy University locations around the world. This is TrojanVision Nightly News.
Hello and welcome to TrojanVision Nightly News for March 5th, 2012. I'm Christina Cook.
And I'm Courtney Steele. Thank you for joining us this evening. Recent changes in Troy's on-campus housing policy giving freshman priority has other students looking for a place to live off-campus next year. As Jessica McNally reports, Troy helps students get to know what's out there so they can find a place to lay their heads.
A house is a machine for living in, said Swiss architect Le Corbusier. This quote speaks wonders for the Troy students who are able to partake in the university's off-campus housing fair on Monday afternoon. Students were able to meet tenants face-to-face to explore their options outside of living on campus.
Options are always great, but being that they're making certain students move out, if you're not a freshman, it's a great opportunity and something great for the students to come and know you have options. Dorm life, not only an option for you, you have the Point, you have the Grove, you have the Edge, you have Hunters Mountain. Just options are great for students.
Different apartment complexes, trailer parks, and housing rental companies were able to make their pitch to students for their businesses. They were able to explain the perks of their living facilities compared to that of others. Some businesses, however, were giving a little extra incentive to the aspiring buyer.
We're doing a lot of different freebies as far as waiving application fees, giving money off security deposits. So, I mean, it's a great opportunity for them because they've got to have a place to live and there's shortage of housing all around Troy.
With several places to live, many can wind up being overlooked. Beth Rose, a worker for E&H Rentals, knows that since they rent houses, not apartments, they might be passed over by some people. But she sees the housing fair as the perfect opportunity to get their name out to the student body.
You get your name, your company name in front of the students, and the students have become more aware about what you offer as alternative in off-campus housing.
Some students may not be aware of their options or how to go about fulfilling them. That is okay. Cruz Young has some advice.
Knowledge is power. If you don't know anything about anything, I mean, it's pointless if you don't know the information. So to seek information is great.
Justin McNally, Troy TrojanVision News.
Any students who have questions about housing either on or off campus can contact Troy's housing office at 670-3346.
Going to college is a desire for a lot of high school students, but not everyone has the means to make that happen. This weekend, Troy University took time to celebrate the program that helps disadvantaged students make their way to college. Deatra Montgomery has the details. National Trio Day was first established by Congress in 1986.
Becoming the best you can be is a goal for many students, yet sometimes one might need help along the way. TRIO, a student support service organization, is designed to do just that.
As we celebrate all of our objectives, and that is to increase college enrollment as well as college retention and graduation. On the high school and the middle school levels, of course, what we're doing is we're preparing students for college, and then on the college level, we're actually keeping them in there as well as helping them to maintain their grades, and our ultimate goal is to graduate.
Guest speaker Lamar Higgins spoke to students, emphasizing the importance of striving to accomplish their life goals and being the best they can be.
Remember to stay motivated, stay focused on their dreams, and despite whatever obstacles that they may face, that they actually have the skills and the knowledge to overcome anything that they may face.
Though with severe weather conditions preventing some to attend, the event still hosted a great number of students.
In spite of the weather, we have students from northern Alabama, just all over across the state of Alabama, representing their school and representing their TRIO program. Every year we do engage in a big celebration where we try to get over thousands of students, and if I recall, we do have about 1,000 students here today.
Though entertainment and fun activities were provided, West Tree reminds everyone to not forget that TRIO is an educational aid to help students excel through life.
I just encourage students, if you have the need academic-wise, because we are academic support, to join a TRIO program at your school or at least ask about it, because it truly is a jewel in our community and in our state.
Deatra Montgomery, Troy TrojanVision News.
A Troy University organization designed to educate students on safe use of alcohol is trying to ensure students have a safe spring break. Greek, advocating the mature management of alcohol, or Gamma, is putting on a number of events this week to help students stay safe next week. Tomorrow, there will be a Sun Safety Cancer Awareness booth in the Bibb Grace Quad from 11 to 2. Wednesday, they will provide an app that will help students find a sober way home from 11 to 2 on the quad. Then Thursday, they will have a drunk driving simulator at the Barnes & Noble's deck from 10 to 4. Gamma hopes these events will help students remember to be safe during spring break.
I think it's very important to remind college students of how they should behave when they're on spring break, basically. You know, spring break's a time, what you see in media and what you see on movies is just a rampant, out of control time for most college students. And I believe it's about having a good time, and it's about having a break from the usual schedule. But then again, you want to be safe, you want to come back to school alive. And
spring break for Troy starts at the end of class on Friday.
And now taking a look at news from around the state. In Birmingham, weather officials say a deadly tornado that struck 2 counties was 1,000 yards wide, or the length of 10 football fields put together. The National Weather Service says in a report on storm damage that the EF2 tornado packed winds of 125 miles per hour as it traveled through Tallapoosa and Chambers counties for more than 31 miles on Friday.
In Huntsville, Republican presidential candidate Newt Gingrich has scheduled 2 days in Alabama before the state's presidential primary March 13th. Gingrich's campaign announced he will hold a rally at 12:30 tomorrow afternoon at the U.S. Space and Rocket Center in Huntsville and then tour the Hudson Alpha Institute for Biotechnology in Huntsville.
In Birmingham, a judge in Birmingham has cleared the way for Alabama's largest county to move forward with the largest municipal bankruptcy in U.S. history. The judge says state laws authorizes Jefferson County to file for bankruptcy. He overruled objections by Wall Street creditors.
Still to come on TrojanVision Nightly News, the Trojan men's basketball team wrapped up their season on Saturday. Danielle Percival will have the details in sports.
But first, tornado victims have yet another weather concern while trying to clean up the aftermath from the last week's tornadoes. We'll have more on that story after the break.
Some victims of the Indiana tornadoes spend today cleaning up, others plan funerals. I'm Susan McGinnis in Henryville, Indiana. Coming up, how a community is coping with the catastrophe.
This massive earthquake has rocked the city. Worst natural disaster this region has ever witnessed.
When a disaster strikes, time is a killer. The UN Central Emergency Response Fund jumpstarts relief efforts, which saves lives. Help us help in time. Donate now at rapiddisasterrelief.org.
If you can learn one thing in life, especially if you go into business, it's how to communicate and how to work with others. And I do think Troy taught me that.
Troy reaches out to people who they see their commitment to public service.
Troy just attracts students that want to give back to the community, that want to give back all across the world.
We want to educate the mind to think, the heart to feel, the body to act. We want to enable our students to go out into this world and make a difference.
Troy University, in class, online, within reach. Troy.edu.
From the high-definition digital production studios of Troy University, you're watching the award-winning TrojanVision Nightly News.
And now for a look at what's happening across the nation and around the world, we go to Christina Cook at the Global News Desk. Christina.
Thank you, Courtney. Residents in 5 states are trying to recover after weekend storms spawned nearly 100 tornadoes in the Midwest and South, killing 39. Susan McGinnis is in Henryville, Indiana, where residents have a new problem to contend with: snow.
Utility crews are working to restore power. Downed power lines and gas leaks are the biggest concerns. At Henryville High School, workers use heavy equipment to scoop up the wreckage. Courtney Cummings is a freshman.
I want to be there, and I want to be in my classes. I want to see my teachers, and I want to see my friends.
School has been canceled for at least the rest of the week.
Work crews, residents, and businesses are wasting no time cleaning up Henryville, and insurance companies can be seen all around town getting the claims process started.
It's going to take a long time to rebuild, but this is a great community and there's a lot of hope here, and we're going to get through it.
15-month-old Angel Babcock is the storm's latest victim. Rescuers found her alone in an Indiana field, but she died 2 days later. Her father, mother, and 2 siblings also died. In North Carolina, a tornado sucked 7-year-old Jamal Stevens out of his home and threw him hundreds of feet toward a nearby interstate.
When the top half of the house, when it came off, it took him with it, and he was actually over top of the back fence here that separates the house from 45.
Stevens is now out of the hospital and back with his family. Back in Henryville, Red Cross volunteer Jerry Holmes has responded to many disasters. He says the people here are staying positive.
They're holding up amazingly well.
Holmes calls the amount of destruction here unbelievable. Susan McGinnis, CBS News, Henryville, Indiana.
The 4 remaining candidates vying for the Republican presidential nomination are doing what they can to sway voters before Super Tuesday. 1/3 of the delegates needed to clinch the nomination is up for grabs tomorrow. Danielle Nottingham reports from Steubenville, Ohio.
Mitt Romney fired up supporters in Canton, Ohio. He took the stage to make the case why they should get out and vote for him on Super Tuesday.
If you think this campaign against President Obama is going to be about the economy and jobs and government being too big, then I'm the guy you need to nominate.
Romney will spend the entire day campaigning in Ohio, and so will Rick Santorum. Polls show the 2 neck and neck here heading into Super Tuesday's most critical contest.
I come to the people of Ohio as a candidate who shouldn't be here. Shouldn't be here. If you looked at any political expert and you look at the money that's been spent.
Santorum will watch the returns in Steubenville, but if he wins here, he won't capture the area's delegates. His campaign failed to submit the required paperwork in some Ohio districts. Jim Emmerling will still support Santorum. He's a small business owner in Steubenville.
He stands for a lot of causes that I believe in. And he's from Pennsylvania, which is right across the river.
Newt Gingrich is making his push in Super Tuesday's southern states, Georgia and Tennessee.
We're not just against Obama. We are for a dramatically better America, an America you cannot achieve with his left-wing values.
Ron Paul campaigned in Idaho, looking for his first win in caucuses there. Danielle Nottingham, CBS News, Steubenville, Ohio.
And that wraps things up from the Global News Desk. To see more stories from across the country and around the world, including young children who have problems breathing while sleeping or at an increased risk for behavioral difficulties later in childhood, you can tune into Trojan Vision Global News right after the nightly news. Now, back to you, Courtney.
Thanks, Christina. And now Danielle Purse will join with a look at sports. So Danielle, know that the men's basketball team has made it back home after some tournament play.
That's right, Courtney. Both the men's and women's teams ended the season this weekend out in Hot Springs, Arkansas, and we'll get into that right now. For the second straight game, the Trojan men's basketball team made a big run in the second half, but on Saturday night could not complete the comeback as they fell to South Alabama in the first round of the Sun Belt tournament. The Trojans fell to the Jags 87-81 in their final game of the season in Hot Springs, Arkansas. Troy trailed by as many as 20 in the second half, but cut the Jags' lead down to as little as 3 in the final minutes. South Alabama scored 5 points in the final 30 seconds to secure the win. Head coach Don Maestri with his thoughts on Saturday's game.
They missed some free throws. They got the rebound and put the ball back in instead of getting 1 point or none out the deal. They got 3 or 2 on missed free throws, you know. So it's just some opportunities that we didn't take advantage of that probably could have given us a legitimate chance to win the game.
The loss marks the end of the season for the Trojans, who say goodbye to just 2 seniors, Stephen Cunningham and Tim Owens. The men end their season with a 10-18 record. And for the women's basketball team, Saturday was the end of their season as well. The Trojans fell to North Texas 75-61 in the first round of the Sun Belt Conference Tournament. The Trojans never led in the contest, but despite being down by as many as 23 in the first half, cut the Mean Green lead to just 7 going into halftime. The team was led offensively by junior Sarah McCapian with 12 total points and sophomore Brooke Bowie with 10 total points. Bowie also led her team in rebounding for only the second time this season, totaling 6 rebounds. The women ended their season with a 2-26 record overall. Well, so far we've been Debbie Downer with season-ending losses to talk about, but how about some Trojan softball? It doesn't get much hotter than that. The team went undefeated this weekend, including a victory over SEC and tournament host Ole Miss in the Red and Blue Classic, and grabbed the tournament title. The Trojans won their first 4 to make it to Championship Sunday, where they faced a rematch against UT Chattanooga. They pulled off a come-from-behind victory their first time facing the Lady Mocs, but on Sunday they defeated UT Chattanooga with ease 6-0 to grab the title. Pitcher Ashley Rainey held Chattanooga scoreless, extending Troy's opponent's scoreless streak to 17 straight innings. Rainey picked up her 3rd complete game of the year as the freshman shut out the Mocs by allowing just 4 hits, striking out 2 and walking none in the outing. At the plate, Rainey was 6 for 12 with 2 doubles and 3 RBIs. The Trojans have the midweek off and travel to Baton Rouge to face LSU and Mississippi Valley State at the Purple and Gold Challenge this weekend. And for the baseball team, they didn't sweep their opponent, but they did take 2 out of 3. After dropping the first game of the series, the Trojans pounded out 26 runs on Saturday to even the series, and it came down to the rubber match on Sunday, and the Trojans were able to mount a comeback, scoring 2 in the 9th inning to take the game and the series by a score of 7-6. Thomas Austin was in line for the win for Troy after 2 2/3 clean innings out of the bullpen. He allowed 1 hit and walked 1, but Joe Hernandez allowed a 4-run 7th inning for the Wildcats, who seized the lead. Head coach Bobby Pierce says he was pleased with his team's ability to come from behind.
Overall, a huge series win on the road, and actually the first series that Bethune has lost this year. They beat South Florida and they beat Florida Gulf Coast, 2 pretty good teams in series prior to ours. So as I look back, feel fortunate to get the series.
And the Trojans return to action tomorrow night against UAB at home. First pitch from Riddle Pace Field will be tomorrow night at 6 o'clock. So while you saw that the men's and women's basketball teams weren't very successful ending their season, baseball and softball had some pretty impressive weekends, especially softball going 5-0 on the weekend. Great start for them, and baseball will be at home tomorrow night, so Trojan fans be sure to come out and support the teams.
Definitely will. Thank you, Danielle.
Thank you.
Still to come on TrojanVision Nightly News, we'll find out how drums and lasers will mix with the pioneer life.
Plus, after a rough weekend, it was a nice day today. Will it stay that way? Derica?
Well, Courtney, you're right. It was a rough weekend, but Mother Nature may be giving us a break. I have more next and weather.
Hi, I'm Mia Hamm. As a professional soccer player and a future soccer mom, I know how fun and rewarding sports can be. I also know how frustrating it is when you're sidelined by an injury. So I've teamed up with the American Association of Orthodontists to ask young athletes to play it safe when playing sports. I spent years training to become a world-class athlete. I know what it takes to become an expert on the field. Orthodontists understand this too. They're experts in their field, helping kids and adults obtain healthy, beautiful smiles. They want to help athletes prevent injuries and stay in the game. It only takes a second to get hurt, and too many athletes are risking injury because they're not properly equipped during games and practices. Wear the right protective gear like mouthguards, face masks, and helmets. Your first line of defense against preventable injuries. Play it safe, achieve your goals, and keep smiling. Visit braces.org.
From the high-definition digital production studios of Troy University, you're watching the award-winning TrojanVision Nightly News.
And now Derica James joins us with a look at weather.
So, Derica, we in northern Alabama, we experienced a lot of dangerous weather over the weekend. What can we expect here in Troy for the rest of our week?
Well, it was very dangerous. A lot of destruction happened this weekend. But I think Mother Nature felt a little sorry for us because this week is going to be pretty nice until the weekend. But I'll get into that later. First, let's look at our campus snapshot. As we look at the campus snapshot, we see that it's actually pretty nice on Troy University's quad. Nothing much really going on. So as we look at our current conditions, we see We see that skies are clear, temperature coming at 67 degrees, dew point at 20 degrees, humidity at 17%, barometers at 30.32 inches and rising, with winds coming from the west-northwest at 16 miles per hour. As we look at today's stats, we see a high of 68, low of 34. There was no rain. Sun rises at 6:05 a.m. and the sun should set around 5:45 p.m. As we look at the temperatures around the state, we see Huntsville coming at 54, Birmingham at 68, Montgomery at 66, Troy at 67, Phoenix City at 65, Mobile coming in at 77, and Dothan coming in at 70. So around Alabama, it's actually some pretty nice weather, with Mobile coming in at our highest. As we look at the southeast, we see that those temperatures are pretty much all across the southeast. We've seen that we're actually experiencing some high 70s, especially over in Texas, but you see Nashville coming in at our lows at 49. And looking at the U.S. as a whole, most of the states are actually seeing an increase in temperatures, especially on the west. As you can see, they're experiencing some 50s and 60-degree temperature, when last week they was in the 30s and 20s, so that's pretty nice for them. Current service, we see that not much going on, just high pressure systems over in the west, a little ice and a little rain in the northwest part. But as we go closer into our area, we see that there's two high pressure systems sitting around us with a cold front coming through, but those high pressure systems are basically canceling that cold front that's coming through. As we go into the next 48 hours, we see that rain chances are very low for our area, probably about a 10% chance, but nothing too much to worry about. We should be having some nice clear days ahead of us. And as we go into tomorrow, current winds right now probably about 16 to 20 miles per hour in the state of Alabama right now. So as we go into Tuesday's forecast, we can see that not too much is going on. A lot of areas going to have some windy conditions, which we probably may be seeing some windy conditions, but nothing drastic. As we go into Wednesday, we see those windy conditions continue creeping into our area, and on Thursday we see that's our first chance to see some rain for the state of Alabama, just up in the northern area. But as we go into Friday, we see that is going to be our greatest chance of some rain for our area. We may be experiencing some thunderstorms also. But as for tonight forecast, clear skies, a calm, cool night with winds coming from the northeast at 7 miles per hour with a low of 34, so go out and enjoy. For tomorrow, we see clear skies, plenty of sunshine to go around with a cool breeze coming from the east-southeast at 12 miles per hour with a high of 66. Then as we look at our clouds outlook, we see that at 7 a.m. you're going to need a jacket, and at 10 a.m. it's going to be warming up. By 1 p.m. you can lose that jacket, and by 3 just go out and have fun and quiet with friends. As we look at our 4-day forecast, we see that it's going to be pretty much a nice week. On Tuesday, highs in the 60s and 70s, with only a chance of rain coming in on Friday. That's only about a 30% chance of isolated thunderstorms. So as you can see, it's going to be a pretty nice week. I really think Mother Nature is going to let us experience that, and I think on Friday she's not even going to let that thunderstorm come through.
Okay, that sounds good.
Thank you, Derek.